Well, hello everybody again. This time I'm going to read to you the third chapter from the Testament of Simeon, or the second son of Jacob and Leah. And his third chapter is talking about a prophecy of the coming Messiah, as does Levi in his fifth chapter. But today I thought I'd read this one from Simeon. So, a prophecy of the coming of the Messiah, verse 1. Behold, I have told you all things, that I may be acquitted of your sin. Comment 1. Acquitted of your sin. This is like saying, I have confessed and told you the truth, how to obey God and keep his commandments. Now it's up to you to do the right thing, not make the same mistakes that I did when I was young. Verse 2. Now, if you remove from you your envy, and all stiff-neckedness, as a rose shall my bones flourish in Israel, and as a lily my flesh in Jacob, and my odour shall be as the odour of Libanus, and as cedars shall holy ones be multiplied from me forever, and their branches shall stretch afar. Comment 2. The Patriarch Simeon is making the point that his sons and grandsons and great-grandsons and great-great-grandsons are already showing signs of being guilty of envy and stiff-neckedness. Simeon lived to be 120 years old, so he must have had many generations of descendants. 1 Samuel 15:22-23. And Samuel said unto Saul, Hath God as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? For rebellion is a sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he also has rejected you from being king. Comment 3. As a rose shall my bones flourish in Israel. Simeon is stating that Israel will become as the rose of Sharon, or the rose of the Lord himself. Comment 4. As a lily my flesh in Jacob, and my odour shall be as the odour of Libanus. Israel is also mentioned as a lily in the Apocrypha book of 2 Esdras. 2 Esdras 5:12. And I said, O sovereign Lord, from every forest, here's Ezra talking with the angel, Uriel. And I said, O sovereign Lord, from every forest of the earth, and from all its trees thou hast chosen one vine, and from all the lands of the world thou hast chosen for thyself one region, from all the flowers of the world thou hast chosen for thyself one lily. Jesus the Messiah is called the lily of the valley in at least song. He is the lily of the valley, and a bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000, everybody ought to know. And that's a song talking about Jesus. Song of Solomon 2:1 and 2. I am the rose of Sharon, the lily of the valleys. As a lily among thorns, so is my love among the daughters. Comment 6. The Patriarch Simeon is clearly prophesying that he can see the Messiah coming in the future, who will be the rose of Sharon, and the lily of the valley, and the bright and morning star. Comment 3. No, it's not comment 3. Verse 3. Simeon speaking again. Then shall perish the seed of Canaan, and a remnant shall not be unto Amalek, and all the Cappadocians shall perish, and all Hittites shall be utterly destroyed. Exodus 17:13. And this is like 300 years later, or 250 years later, maybe 300. Exodus 17:13. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. 1 Samuel 15:18. The Lord sent thee, is Samuel the prophet talking to Saul, disobedient King Saul. And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, Go, utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them till they be consumed. Comment 7. The Amalekites were indeed totally destroyed, and dramatically so, as pointed out in 1 Samuel 15. It's an excellent chapter about kings obeying the prophet of God, and thus the Lord himself. He shows how King Saul lost the kingdom through disobedience to God around about 1079 BC. Joshua 1:3. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses, and all the land of the Hittites. Jubilees 24. For the seed of Canaan shall be rooted out of the land. Verse 4. Then shall fail the land of Ham, and all the people shall perish. Comment 8. The land of Ham was devastated because of the 10 plagues brought upon Pharaoh in Egypt in the time of Moses and Aaron, his brother, the high priest, some 170 years after the death of the patriarchs, and exactly 430 years in the time of Abraham's son Isaac being born. Comment 9. The descendants of Esau are mentioned by Isaac, the father of Jacob, has been rooted out in the book of Jubilees. Jubilees 26:34. By thy sword shalt thou live, and I will serve thy brother. It shall come to pass, when thou art become great, and to shake his yoke from off thy neck, thou shalt sin a complete sin unto death, thy seed shall be rooted out from under heaven. Verse 5. Then shall all the earth rest from trouble, all the world under heaven from war. Well, that's certainly the future. Comment 10. Here it is mentioned there shall be no more war. And this will happen when the Messiah returns, the second time, puts an end to evil and to violence and war, by locking up Satan and his minions in a bottomless pit for 1,000 years, the beginning of the 1,000-year golden age of the coming millennium. Yeah, you can see that in Revelation 20, verses 1 through 3. Or better known as Christ's reign on earth. No more war. Isaiah 2:2-4. It shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills. All nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Verse 6 and 7. And the mighty one of Israel shall glorify Shem. For the Lord God shall appear on earth, and himself save men. Isaiah 7:14. Therefore the Lord shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and call his name Emmanuel, Christ. Isaiah 22:21. I will commit thy government into his hand, and he shall be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Verse 8. Then shall all the spirits of deceit be given to be trodden under foot, and men shall rule over wicked spirits. Comment 11. Spirits of deceit shall be trodden under foot. The Messiah gave us the power to cast out evil spirits in his powerful name, Jesus. Luke 10:19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and of all the power of the enemy. Nothing shall by any means hurt you. Verse 9. Then shall I arise in joy, will bless the Most High, because of his marvelous works. Because God had taken a body and eaten with men and saved men. What an incredible verse, written 1700 BC by the Patriarchs. Look at that. Then shall I arise in joy, in capitals. And I'll bless the Most High, in capitals. Because of his marvelous works, because God had taken a body and eaten with men and saved men. Couldn't be clearer about the Christ. John 1:14. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. The glory is the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. In Matthew 15:36. And he took the 7 loaves and fishes, and gave thanks, and brake them, and gave them to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. Verse 10. Now, my children, obey Levi and Judah. He's mentioning his brothers because Levi is in charge. He's the high priest, and Judah is the king. And be not lifted up against these 2 tribes, for from them shall arise unto the salvation of God. Is this true? It certainly is. Jesus came out of the tribe of Judah. In Hebrew, Judah means thanksgiving or praise. Psalm 100:4-5. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Comment 12. Levi, in the Hebrew word Levi, means united, joined, or sometimes joined in harmony. Verse 11. For the Lord shall raise up from Levi as it were a high priest, and from Judah as it were king, God and man. He shall save all the Gentiles and the race of Israel. Comment 13. It is true that Jesus the Messiah is known as King of Kings and that he came out of the tribe of Judah when born upon earth. However, Jesus is also known as the high priest of the order of Melchizedek, mentioned Hebrews 7. Verse 12. Therefore I give you these commands, that ye also may command your children, that may observe them throughout their generations. Comment 14. It's interesting to note that both the parents of Moses, who delivered Israel from Egypt, were Levites. Exodus 2, 1 through 2 and 10. And there went a man from the house of Levi, and took a wife, a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived, and bare a son. And when she saw that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. Yeah, she was hiding from the Egyptians, who were trying to kill all the Hebrew babies, as you know. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, because I drew him out of the water. Verse 13. And when Simeon had made an end of commanding his sons, he slept with his fathers 120 years old. Book of Joshua 61:4. And the 75th year died his brother Simeon. He was 120 years old at his death. He was also put into a coffin and given into the hands of his children. Verse 14. And they laid him in a wooden coffin to take up his bones to Hebron. And they took him up secretly during a war of the Egyptians. For the bones of Joseph the Egyptians guarded in the tombs of the kings. Comment 15. This last verse seems to be telling us that when Simeon died, they secretly took him in a wooden coffin to Hebron. They were afraid this body would get stuck in Egypt, as they saw the body of Joseph was guarded by the Egyptians, the tombs of their pharaohs. Joseph and Simeon both died in the same year. Verse 15. Very interesting verse, this one. For the sorcerers told them that on the departure of the bones of Joseph, there should be throughout all the land of Egypt darkness and gloom, and exceeding great plague to the Egyptians, so that even with a lamp a man should not recognize his brother. Comment 16. Here's a bit of new information that the sorcerers of Egypt predicted that one day there would be terrible plague and darkness and gloom upon the land of Egypt at the time that Joseph's bones were removed from Egypt. Let's check the Bible for the time of Moses and the 10 plagues of Egypt, some 170 years after the death of Joseph. Exodus 10:21. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch forth thine hand towards heaven, there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. Exodus 13:19. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straight sworn the children of Israel, saying, well, Joseph had made them swear when he died, God will surely visit you, and he should carry up my bones away with you. Verse 16-17, end of chapter. And the sons of Simeon bewailed their father, and they were in Egypt until the day of their departure from the hand of Moses. Well, I hope you enjoyed that reading there from the Testament of Simeon. Please do get my new book, The Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, Insights. It just came out just less than a month ago. You'll find that at Amazon and other bookstores. Well, have a great time, everybody. Have a great day or evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Bye for now.